Well, good morning, everybody. It is Pacific. You've tuned in to somebody who is not going to beat around the bush about a subject that most people do. American women. I watched a video by Black Pigeon Speaks. Deeply respect him. He's articulate. He's on point. And he speaks the truth. In his video, Why Women Destroy Nations. I like to listen to people that make me consider something I haven't considered, but he talks about feminism and how Sweden, how white women are literally destroying their own culture. They're letting in all these refugees. They're letting in all these violent, abusive men from other Middle East countries with religious beliefs and ideas that are literally destructive to them. He talks about stuff that's very, very controversial, and yet raises a scary truth reality. That when women were interviewed who were raped, that they attained orgasm. I'm going to tell you something. It's never happened to me, but if I'm scared, I'm going to tell you that I am not. If I'm fearful, I'm not going to get turned on. He launches into a discussion stating as fact that women like the scoundrels. I have personally witnessed this in the United States, but I didn't see it until I moved overseas. Anybody remember the book, Dale Carnegie's How to Dress for Success? Was it Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, and then the other one, How to Dress for Success? Most of us men, if we grew up in a normal modicum of normal Americana, we were taught, well, if you say the right words, if you treat the woman right, and you wear the right clothes, and can I tell you something? That's not true. Another thing you need to be aware of is you don't need to pursue a woman. Something I've learned only in the last year. If a woman's interested in you, she'll get your attention, and she'll pursue you. He also talked about in Hitler's regime, women from other countries, France, other countries that were taken over by Hitler's regime, that these women got into these Nazi leaders. And that women who got involved with men of power didn't care if they had to share their man with multiple other women. I'm going to say something that's going to be very controversial. It's going to raise some red flags. It's going to make people possibly look at Pacific as, oh my gosh, you pig. Don't. This is just the honest archives. When I had gone over there for the woman that I was infatuated with and being involved with her for 4 years and finally woke up to the reality, this woman was not interested in Michael's heart, but was looking for a visa, was looking for a way out to be with her friend. We're not even sure all of the details. My last 5 months in Hong Kong were filled with me going to karaoke, wasting away in a karaoke bar called Maurice in Ali Alley in central Hong Kong. I couldn't go back for 5 months. Thought, well, might as well make the best of this. Pretty women, they're interested in me. I'm going to enjoy this for all it's worth. Right or wrong. And I noticed something. I was honest with every one of the women. I cannot bring you back to the United States because of what I went through with the one I came here for. Started immigration, had to end it. There's no love. this relationship is over. I'm not going to be able to bring you to the U.S. I'm leaving in 5 months, so if you choose to get involved with me, realize that March 5th, 2012, that's it. The following comments were made to me. That is the risk I'm willing to take. The women were intimate with me. I did not force it. Come back to the United States in 2012. I dated a plethora of women. I dated a woman who was Korean but was from Buffalo, New York. A woman who she had actually responded to one of my rant posts on Craigslist in Denver. And we started writing back and forth. And after she got me hooked into writing, she said, well, I'm married. I said, well, that's out. No, would you still be a friend? I've been trapped in this marriage. And she told me about her husband, and I said, well, I guess I can be a friend. And then she heard I did landscaping. Could you come over and look at my backyard? I'd be willing to hire you. I said, shoot, I got a job. I'll do it. Went over there. I'd had some back pain. She told me things I could do with my back. She showed me her backyard. I said, this is going to be a job, but I think I can do something with it. While I was working on the property, the woman fell in love with me. Or should we say a euphoric, the grass is greener on the other side, interest. She emailed me one day and said, the truth is I'm falling in love with you and I can't help it. I said, well, we got a problem. You're married. She goes, I know. I'm divorcing him. I'm putting him out today. She told him to go. He was just blown away. The kids were angry. I continued. I started to date her at that point, figuring because she had put the money down for the attorney. The relationship was interesting. There were some very nice things about the girl. The sad thing to say, but it is the truth. Her being Korean, even though she was not born in Asia, she still had things within her that were true to Asian culture that I have not found in any other girl I dated since in Denver, Colorado, Lakewood, Aurora. She would massage me. She would cook stuff for me. She would touch me. She always touched me. Her kids didn't like me because they saw me as responsible for her putting out their father. Her parents never met me, but they had seen my YouTube channel back then and kind of went. They claimed to be conservatives, but yet at the same time, they had a funny way of looking at the world. They told her why he not own his own company at his age and have people work for him. They were very much about status. They were both doctors. They both owned a home in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and one in Vegas. They had his and hers golf carts, and they didn't understand the reality that a huge underbelly of Americans will never be as rich and comfortable as them through no fault of their own. Rich people are interesting, and that's a whole other video that they fail to forget while they look down on their nose. And I told her, I said, tell your parents, the next time they go on a cruise or an outing, don't go to the restaurant because that server doesn't have a college degree. Don't sit at that table because that was made by somebody in a factory. I said, you could unpack this at every level, that if you want to have that attitude, then you better not go out into half the world on a daily basis, because that city bus you get on, that's driven by a bus driver. She was liberal, I was conservative, and we butt heads on that. But she finally made the decision, due to her parents' pressure, to take the husband back, even though there was no love there. And she had asked me, can you wait 6 years? I said, 6 years? No. And I said, your family doesn't accept me. Your daughter is atrociously rude. I'm not comfortable with this. And without getting into all the details, we parted ways. I found it interesting that when you are in another country and you're dealing with, and I want to make something clear, because if any of my Filipino friends are listening, this does not apply to every Filipino female. But there is a dynamic that exists in women of all cultures. To the Filipinos, I was a rock star. I'm from America. To them, I'm rich because my standard of living is much higher than theirs. I earn more money than they do. They fail to understand that in my culture, I'm not rich. I'm the working blue-collar underbelly with the Walmart workers and the waitresses and the bus drivers and the house cleaners, and I'm not a skilled professional. Yet women were willing in Hong Kong to go out with me, to bed down with me, and even one of the girls, when we went to karaoke, she goes, "Hey, listen, they're playing your song to all the women I've loved before." And I looked at her and I said, "Be quiet," and laughed. And I looked at her and I said, "But you want to be with me. Why?" "Because I've never met a guy like you." I come back to the United States. I go to the San Francisco airport. I go into the section of the airport waiting for the Spokane flight. And I'm sitting in the waiting area, and I can tell the Spokane women immediately. Dowdy, ucky-colored business suits. And I'm not being rude. I'm just stating a truth. Uptight. And you look at them. None of them were as pretty as any of the Asians I dated over there. They're uptight. They're pensive. And you're not going to get a smile. You're not going to get any warmth. And my heart just went. Pacific has always had problems in this culture, and I didn't put it all together until I lived overseas. But even me, I meet women in the Philippines that tell me nobody's interested in me. And I said, "What? You got to be out of your mind." Women that are beautiful, that if I was to drop them in Denver and they were to walk down the street, I promise you people would be turning their heads, pulling over, offering them rides. The men here are very aggressive. How much more so if they found a sweet, foreign, sexy Asian girl that seems to be untouched. I don't know why white women have become this. We could make many assertions. Feminism has pushed them that way. But it is true. I don't know if anybody remembers, but in the German Third Reich, one of Hitler's henchmen who ran not Auschwitz, but one of them, one of the death camps, Birkenau, whatever. He had a wife who was somewhat good looking in the day, and she would go and select the prisoners, men that she would have come in and clean her room and this and that, and she would wear clothing and tease them. And she would select a man who had the nicest skin and say, "Honey, I want him." And they would pull off his skin and make lampshades out of it. I am convinced in my heart, something that was a real revelation to me when I finally said it out loud, that women can be more cruel, evil, and nasty than men. In July of 1956, the Italian flagship ocean liner, the Andrea Doria, was steaming across the Pacific Ocean, not too far off the coast of the United States. Steaming also across the Pacific was the Swedish liner, the Stockholm. Whatever happened, neither one of them seemed to figure out what was going on with the other ship in a dense fog, and the Stockholm sliced deep into the side of the Doria. And almost 9 hours later, the Doria rolled over and sank. The people that got killed on the Doria were the ones that the bow of the Stockholm had impaled in their cabins. It was the first televised, helicopter videotaped ocean liner of the Grand Era to be photoed rolling over and sinking. It is a diver's Mecca to this day. It's in 300 feet of water. There's a gentleman who goes down every year who is called Mr. Doria. He has picture mold and shelves on the top of his ceiling with dinnerware with gold embroidery and Andrea Doria emblazoned on the plates. For each time he dives, he pulls something off the rack. When a woman was interviewed on the Stockholm about a passenger, a Swedish, of course, and I take a shot at the Swedish because I lived in Minnesota. I never knew what the term stoic meant until I lived in Duluth. Swedish woman, blonde hair, blue eyes, tall, skinny, beautiful pasty white skin, and you thought, wow. Finnish women, Norwegian women. It didn't take me long to wake up. Man, these women are not warm at all. And a Swedish woman was interviewed on the Stockholm. You were on the Stockholm when it sliced through the Andrea Doria. What do you remember about this? Oh, it was terrible. I lost my skis. They were in the forward cargo hold that got mangled. And all she could think about was the loss of her skis. People get mad at me when I say this, but I'm very intimately in tune with the nuances of women. I'm very intimately aware of the fact that women and men are not the same. I am extremely aware of the fact that many males in our society are taking on feministic or feminine characteristics with the way they dress, the way they move, the way they hold their cup of coffee, and I'm disturbed. Why are men denying their manhood? Because it's called the pussification of the American male complements of the feminist Nazis, or as Rush Limbaugh would say, the feminazis. To the Asian women, they would rather have a piece of Michael than nothing at all. As they descend back into their domestic helper world in Hong Kong, and the door on my plane closes for the last time, and I fly away, at least they can hold a memory that a man made them feel like a queen. And come back to the United States, and I am in no way bragging. I am in no way saying, oh, look at me, because even I realize I felt sadness. So many pretty, nice girls over there, unloved. We do not, in the United States, have near as pretty women as they do in the Philippines, or China, or Vietnam, or anywhere. My opinion, expressly stated. And we've got plain Jane sticks walking around with Target clothes on, who have got an attitude that transcends all reasonable thought processes. How did this happen? That's another video. A lot of women in American culture are rude. A lot of women in American culture are users and takers. And they go after the beast, the bad guy. There's a woman I know now who, she's a Seventh-day Adventist. And I think she's attractive. She's a Hispanic, Mexican woman. 45, looks good. And she tells me, Pacific, I started dating this guy. Tell me what you think. He's Arabian, and man, he really knows how to make me feel and treat me, and he takes me to dinner and treats me like a queen. And then we get intimate, and then he suddenly walks away. No text, no call, no talk, and I don't hear from him for 2 months. I said, how many times has this happened? Oh, 3 or 4 times. I said, you keep going back. I thought you said you wanted a long-term relationship. Well, I do, but... I said, well, I'm sure there's guys that are interested in a long-term relationship with you. Why don't you go pursue them? The other day I talked to her briefly on the phone, and she goes, yeah, it's okay he'd do this. Yeah, he doesn't want a commitment, maybe because I have a daughter. But he treats me so good. That the core of so many women is what you do for me. We're just not gonna mention the name, because I'd almost bet she knows I'm back on YouTube. There was a gal in the metro area here years ago that had written me to a post I posted on Craigslist seeking an ebony female. Many of you remember that. I said 1 or 2 emails, and then we talk. She had written me, sent me pictures of herself like this, no shirt on to show the length of her hair. I didn't care. I'm human. I thought, wow, she's good looking. She wrote me. She goes, well, you can determine if I'm ebony or not. And I thought, well, this is a no-brainer. She's white. She said she was ex-UK girl. And I wrote her and I said, you know, you're pretty. Here's my number. Give me a call. I don't give out my number, blah, blah, blah. I've been through this. A guy threatened me. A guy pinned me down. I can't even remember all of it. But basically, what began after that was a couple emails back and forth. I said, you know, before we go any further, I want you to watch my 4-hour video, Whine, W-H-I-N-E, Women in Song. It was a very honest tell-all. And she claimed to be a Christian herself. After watching that video, she came away with the assertions. Instead of writing me back and saying, thank you for sending me that video, I have determined after watching it that you and I are probably not compatible. I would have accepted that. I would have said, not a problem. Thank you. Have a good day. No. She tore me up. You probably have venereal disease with all the people you slept with, and oh my gosh, and you're yelling in the video. I'm like, do you know what passion is? Pacific, stop yourself right now. You have a dysfunction, and you've had it all your life. You see a beautiful woman, and you twist yourself into a pretzel, and you need to stop it. You need to be who you are. I don't care how hot she is. And if she runs away, say la vie. I promise you she'll have problems in the marriage that she's in. I promise you. Unless the guy's a simp. Simp, you'll have to look at the MGTOW issues to understand what that is. I notice as I get older, I notice especially in the last few years that I'll sit in a doctor's office, I'll sit somewhere and I'll see a beautiful woman and you can tell she's got the airs about her. I don't even look at her. I'll do something. I love pulling out I love this. If you really want to impress the women in American culture, pull out one of these. Yeah, flip phone. Start texting. They will look. And I can just hear it in their mind. Oh my gosh, a flip phone? I haven't seen one of those since 1996. Pacific is deliberate in his actions, and Pacific deliberately does things because I want to make it very clear to women. I don't care what you think about this, the chain, the hair, the... We were sitting in a doctor's office. I had taken a elder friend of mine. It was a snowy day and was asked to accompany that friend to the doctor appointment. And the comment was made, there was a white woman sitting next to me, good looking, had her legs folded. And the person that I had brought said, boy, what would people do without these cell phones? I said, well, it's definitely an addiction. And I was quiet when I said that. Then all of a sudden, the woman put her cell phone away and she goes, I actually heard on the news they're saying these kids are spending so much time on their cell phones that they're getting myopia because they only not even spend 16 minutes a day out in the sunshine. And I said, really? And I started talking to her. I thought, I wonder if she was uncomfortable with the comment that my friend made. Pacific doesn't ask out a good-looking American woman anymore. But I've noticed something. I fall for the bait. Anybody know what chum is? Chum is when you throw these torn-up fish and you drop them into the water and it gets all the sharks coming. I mean, feeding frenzy. And that's what a lot of American women do. They show a little bit of their sexiness, the cleavage, the tight shorts. And they love to do this. Hi, guys. And all the guys are like sharks. But the woman's on the back of the boat going. And the boat's... And the men are just still thinking they're going to catch her. You have to understand that in our culture, many white women are attention whores, and they like that. And I realize not all women are like that. But I have noticed that women, especially in my workplace, they choose the bandidos. Da 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 da. They like the guy that goes to jail. They like the man whose theme song, I was going to clean my room, instead I got high. I was going to pay my child support until I got high. I screwed up my whole life and I know why. Why, man? 'Cause I got high. 'Cause I got high. 'Cause I got high. I hear them tell me this. I overhear them talking to other girls. Yeah, he sits on the couch all day long, smokes pot. I go to work here, drive the bus, and I just say one thing. How come you dated a guy like that? Oh, because I love him. I said, but he doesn't do anything. Well, he watches my child. Oh, we got a man daycare center. The man who won't go out and get a freaking job. But when the kid's back his turn, he's, wow, you scored. And then he beats her. Burns up all her money. And the classic scenario plays out yet again. All men are a-holes. All men. You didn't date the nice, honest, hardworking man. As Black Pigeon states in his video. Bananas are good. I've become a lot more cerebral in my approach to women. I notice beauty. I'm a man, for crying out loud. I notice beauty. And because I notice beauty, I have no problem going, wow, she's cute. But I'm more adjusted now in the set, yeah, she's cute. The kittens are cute, and puppies are cute, and they tear up the sofa, and they pee and poo everywhere. And don't date cute. And I maintain again. After dating the Korean woman, I embarked on dating a few white women, a few black women, a few Hispanic. Epic fail. One woman I met on Craigslist lived in Pueblo. She now lives on the East Coast. She has become a very dear friend. And she wasn't a flake, a bimbo, or a jerk at all. She sees a lot of what I talk about. She was married to an abusing Hispanic husband. And her comment to me, I'll never marry a Mexican again. Bananas are really good. Potassium. What other YouTube channel can you watch where the speaker just eats a banana? On my channel, I don't want to go on a vendetta. I want to try to keep it topically fresh. I'm mystified as to why it appears to me that white women are on this destruct mode. Women that are now older than me, 57, 60. The tattoo here, the mascara that doesn't go in a nice line, but they did something funky. And the blonde hair has a black skunk stripe in it. I'm going to make it clear, I don't go into these places and make comments. I talk to people. And it is true, women who have kind of destroyed themselves, got the beer gut, they're not sexual goddesses anymore. They always seem to be interested in Pacific. Now, why would that be? Because Pacific has taken care of his body. To them, I would be a find. Because I'm sorry, I'm not a dog. I'm not ugly. And they're living hand to mouth. And all those guys that they snubbed when they were hotties, they're not jumping in the water after their chum anymore. When a woman starts losing sex appeal in the United States, they start choosing those of us men that they snubbed in the beginning years of their sexual finesse. Many people mistake. You have female issues. Yes, I do. But most women have female issues too. Most women in a working environment have told me to my face I can't stand working with other women. They're catty, they're gossip, they'll stab you in the back. I'd rather work with a bunch of guys. I don't have this Barbie standard in my mind. There's plain Jane girls I looked at, I'm like, she's kind of cute. But then you watch their body language, and you listen to the cookie cutter, carbon copied, factory manufactured, talking and acting the same way as the culture that's become so repugnant. You go, yep. Pacific is not in a mold. Pacific is not going to make it with American woman like that. Yep, we got the house, we got the SUV, let's go get that dog, and let's have Starbucks coasters in our living room and futons everywhere. No. Pacific is going to be raw. And Pacific is going to be who he is. And Pacific is not going to any longer in my life submit himself to any woman who wants to be over me. I will not be ruled over by a female ever again. It is inevitable that we have to in the working place, bosses, supervisors, but don't bring it into your home. A man needs to be the head of his house, and most American women do not submit to that. Run from them. When you look at the women who choose the scofflaw, the scoundrel, shake your head and say, you know what? You got issues. Why do women pick the bad guy? Because it ought to wake us up that they're not sugar and spice and everything nice. There are only 2 kinds of women and 3 kinds of women in Denver, excuse me. I'm going to use a ship analogy. In Long Beach, there was a place where a lot of military ships were mothballed, awaiting the breakers, rusting, bobbing in the water. You could salvage some pretty cool stuff off of that, portholes and bells and shippy stuff. But a lot of these older women are like these rusty freighters with dents in the hull, rust streaming down the sides of the superstructure. The funnel's got a big hole eaten in the perforated, salt stains everywhere, portholes cracked. And I'm not trying to be rude, but it's almost poetic justice that these women who walked around like they had a bone in their mouth with an attitude about how hot they were, that it's come full circle. The circle of life is completed, and they're aging, and they're sagging, and they're bagging. And now to date or to be involved with them, you will have to be their caretaker. No. Then you have the hot-looking girls. Most of them lack any substance. Most of them lack any depth. They're vain. They're plastic. They're not going to listen to Pacific Ocean Asia. Women like that are not interested in listening to anything that holds up a mirror to themselves and makes them see the truth. Women like that avoid the mirror. They look at the mirror only to put on their makeup, but they don't look at the mirror of truth to make an honest eval and assessment of themselves. Instead, women like that project, he has anger management, he's abusive, oh, he verbally abused me? I never even heard the term verbal abuse until the last, 15 years? These buzzwords. Ha. You get involved with women like I'm talking about. You wrap that around your neck and you keep twisting it as hard as you can, and that's what you've done to yourself. This weighs about 3 pounds. And I love wearing it because I go to Cherry Creek Mall. I haven't been there in probably over a year. And these blonde, well-endowed women will walk up. I love your necklace. What made them say that? This is an ordinary chain. I said, thank you. That's really, really different. I am nice to people. I try to befriend anybody, even if they're radically different than me. But it is a truth about American women. It is unproductive to pursue them. It is unproductive to even hope in obtaining a date with a decent-looking, decent-hearted, passionate, warm, expressive, demonstrative female. If you find that in the U.S., you let me know. I've had the dichotomy of both cultures, both Asia and here. Women that held my arm so sweetly, ran their fingers through my hair, came up behind me and massaged me And I've never, ever, with a white woman, had a passionate, loving, sweet experience where when I was done, I said, oh my gosh, you are amazing. In the U.S., Pacific has had sex. In Asia, I made love. And I don't care if some Christian woman who's got an attitude is offended by what I say. I'm just keeping it real. Pacific hasn't lived the morally pure life. This is not something I'm proud of. It's just what it is. It's me talking about my experiences. It's me opening my heart and sharing these things with no regret. The only regret I have about anything is that I've disappointed my God. I could care less about some Sally Self-Righteous in American church culture who looks at me, you've been divorced 3 times, and you this, and you that. I promise you, Sally Self-Righteous, if she finds a bad ASS Christian male who's had a few tattered, colored past, if she's into him, she'll ignore all those little requirements that she put on me. I've watched it over and over and over. The myth that these Christian women want this godly man. I've heard that, and then I see who they choose. I'm like, godly? This guy's an alcoholic, and you guys are going to the bars. Okay. Pacific drives with his eyes wide open. It boils down to supply and demand. It boils down to cultures. It does, and I will say boldly again, the best culture in the world. I'm going to lay my stake down, and I'm going to drive it in hard. You want to find a woman, and you need to use discernment, and you need to take the time to get to know her or possibly a few. Is the Philippines. China? You have to be careful. Japan? Vietnam? Thailand? And the Philippines. You have to be careful. You have to ascertain what her motive is in this. But I'm going to say this, single good-looking women in the state of Colorado that are up around my age, I promise you this, they're not warm, they're not sweet, they're not going to be interested in Pacific at all. And you go to the Philippines and you got women in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s that are still sweet, good-looking, heart and soul and passion and demonstrative lovers. White women get so mad when I do that. Oh, well, Asians are whores. No, they're not. There's some that are, but a lot of white women are whores. White women sell out for money. White women will use and abuse an American male for his wallet. That's the other kind of women you got. The feminist, I don't need a man. Oh, no, but you have no problem draining him of a savings account. I could take the time to read Craigslist ads. And I don't have time. I'm running out of time. See if I can pull up. Craigslist, Denver, Colorado. Women seeking men. Let's just spotlight a couple. Looking for long 29. Oh, here we go. I'm 29, mixed with Mexican and Native American. I'm a single young lady. I like Southern rock music, country, and rap, and I love baking. I am looking for a long-term relationship. I am an old-school type of girl raised by my grandmother, my mom, and my dad. I definitely don't look at race or the size of the person, but as long as you have an amazing personality, we can click. I'm tired of all the fake people and the bots. So in the subject line, tell me your favorite breakfast food. Mine is blueberry crumb cake and breakfast sandwiches. I'm 1,000% real at 7:51 p.m. I want to settle down and find my forever. Hope you're out there. Okay, this girl is a hottie. She's an absolute cutie. Long black hair, beautiful thick black eyebrows, beautiful fawn eyes, 29. Okay. Can't really totally criticize the ad, but I can't help but wonder if she's just trolling. And I've always been very cynical about the girls that don't post their picture, but they post something that shows they have a picture, and you click on it, and it's some little saying, a guy out there was meant to be the love of your life, your best friend, your soulmate, the one you can tell your dreams to. He'll brush the hair out of your eyes, send you flowers when you least expect it. He'll stare at you during the movie, even though he paid $8 to see it. By the way, it's more than that. He'll call to say goodnight or just because he is missing you. He'll look in your eye and tell you you're the most beautiful girl in the world, and for the first time in your life, you'll believe it. Nicholas Sparks. I am looking for a date this weekend and would like to meet a guy that is not wanting sex on the first date. Laugh out loud. Okay. First of all, you shouldn't even put that. Long story short, is my 30th birthday tomorrow, and the person I met on a speed date has now changed his mind about a second date, although the second date was already planned. Oh, we got to tell everybody about our little poo-poo experience. So now I'm stuck with 2 movie tickets and no date. Sad face. I just want to be with a good guy. I'm so sick of dating guys that just want one thing. Okay, folks, for those of you that are into sex, go after her because she's dated man after man that wants one thing, and she'll probably do it again, so run on in there, boys. Get your fill. I want a relationship. I know it is a process to get to be in a relationship with someone, but all I need is a chance. Anyway, hit me up. My name is Monique. I am real, and no, I'm not a guy. Laugh out loud. We're going to stop right there. There is so much wrong with those posts. The one, as pretty as she is, I promise you if I send her a response, I'll get no response back. Fox News did a study on these dating sites and found that women were doing it to be attention whores. They actually showed women sitting in a room and talked about how they sit there with their girlfriends. Oh my gosh, look at all these guys that are interested in me. I wouldn't date him in a million years. La, 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 la. And they're getting off on this. That most of the women on the dating sites are actually not looking for a date. That women are different than a lot of men. Women get off on the idea that all these men are trailing after them, even though they'll never let them know, never respond to them. The date post is misleading. They're not looking for a date. They're looking to see how many guys will respond, how many guys will say, you're sexy, you're hot, because inside they're going, oh, I needed to hear that. It's sick. And I've learned enough over the years, you are not going to meet a quality relationship on Craigslist. Not today. In fact, it is doubtful you meet a quality relationship on most dating sites if you choose American women. I'm going to tell you something basic to dating life that I finally woke up to. If you're a scoundrel, if you bad Bob the biker, loaded with tats, and I've noticed in Denver, you can be fat, you can be balding, but if you have a Harley, you wouldn't believe all the chicks that want to be seen riding on the back of his bike. No, they're not interested in Pacific, or most of you all. You're hardworking, honest, real, heartfelt people. They're not interested. So don't waste your time. Just say no to white meat. I'm sorry. If you want to date white meat, go to Japan, go to China. You'll see some white Asian women, white-skinned. I am fully convinced that Asians are still have more to offer us, more hope of a good, sound relationship, even though I went after one that motives were suspicious all the way through. Not all are like that. In America, if you want an Amtrak train wreck, then continue to date your local culture of women. It's not that I think I'm better than everybody else. It's that women have an attitude today. Most of the white women are immature. Most of the white women have a way higher opinion of themselves than they ought. The Bible says, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought. Most American white women think way more highly of themselves than they want, and they sport that attitude with their body language the minute they open their mouth. And if you think that Christian white women that are decent looking are humble, you obviously haven't been around them enough either. Feminism has infected like a cancer and permeated our society so much that my recommendation to every man out there is stop the madness. Be polite to them. If they want to be your friend, be a friend. But don't get romantic to them. Don't have sex with them. Don't go on an intimate date with them. Don't waste your time. And once in a while, you'll find one of those white women out there to go, why is he not looking at me? I can't handle that. And watch what happens. They still want your attention. Don't be fooled by that. Don't be fooled when they're suddenly cozying up to you. They're only doing it to get you to turn completely around and go, wow, you're really hot. Thank you, thank you. And then the very next day, they pretend you don't exist. Don't give in to that crap. Don't tell them they're good looking. Don't compliment them. Hey, Sue, what's up? Treat them like you don't need them, desire them, want them, interested in them. The results can be humorous. They want you to need them even though they have no interest in wanting you. Don't feed the pig. And you will be feeding the pig if you do. What if we don't make enough money where we can immigrate somebody from Asia? Oh, and that brings me to the next thing. Brian had asked me, what about unanswered prayer? It is right for me to want a wife. And I said, that's a good point. One thing that people have to realize when we're dealing with prayer, we can pray. God is not a vending machine. Prayer is not a quarter that you put in and you pull the lever and the pop comes out, or the Fritos, Cheetos, whatever. What I am going to say is going to shock you. The bulk of American women have become so childish, so full of themselves, so narcissistic, so completely materialistic, superficial, and bought into philosophies that are so harmful and destructive to the family, to the Christian faith, and to the civilization, and the manners and etiquette, and the survival of a healthy and fit society. I don't care how many women say, oh, he's got a problem with anger management. Most women today are dysfunctional wrecks. Picture the Oceanos. That's what you got out there. And when you see these shipwrecks, don't go swimming over near them. Hey, you're kind of cute. She's going down, buddy. You're going to get caught in her. You're going to get caught. You're going to be pulled down with her. I'm not making this stuff up. I wouldn't even watch them sink. I'd just turn around and sail off. Yeah, I'm not being insensitive. I'm just making observations, and I agree with Black Pigeon. And for those women that want to attack me, let me make it very clear. There are so many men out there that are far more eloquent than I am that have noticed this dynamic. And I want to make it very clear, as I'm vainly playing with my hair that's still trying to dry this morning. Would you date a white girl? It hasn't happened in years. In the U.S., I've had better success with dating ethnicities, but those two were short-term. And we're not going to get into that right now. It was short-term because of their choice, not mine. But after I stood back for a while, I stopped and go, whew, thank you that they ended it. American females today, the bulk, vast majority of them, are very immature. It's almost like a toddler-style approach. I got my job, I got my car. I can pull up my big boy pants, I don't need anybody. Well, who cares? We don't need you either. You didn't build our civilization, you didn't set up our government infrastructure, and honestly, we don't need you. We don't. And to agree with Black Pigeon, they destroy nations. They destroy homes. They destroy masculinity. They're destroying a lot of American men that have been backed into a corner of fear. And these men are backing up and feminizing themselves and taking on feminine characteristics in hopes of getting some. That's sad. Whether you get any or not, you need to be a man. And if a woman doesn't like your voice and it doesn't like you being a man, walk on. I am not going to attend a British tea party because I know that is not where I belong. I am not going to sit in a room with a bunch of prudes holding a cup like this and saying, "Hey, it's so nice to see you, ladies." That is not where I belong. I stay out of them places. But we go to church, we go to our places, we see boy meets girl, oh, she's hot. Yeah, so what? The sex will get old, I promise you. Familiarity breeds contempt. What do you have after the orgasm? What do you have? You have a woman, you can look in her eyes and say, you know, I love you. I love your personality. I love that we share the same heart. I'm sorry, I can't roll over in bed and say, want to go to Starbucks today and get the new pumpkin latte? Ha! No. You want to go look at SUVs all day and look at consumer reports on Toyota Sequoias? Yeah, let's buy a truck that's a tree. Yeah, good idea. Oh, wait, maybe we can put a toolbox on the top and a bike rack and all our little liberal stickers all over the back, and then we can go to Boulder today. We'll eat some granola bars. I'm going to say something bold. I look at these women in this culture. They are absolutely boring. I don't envy them. I'm not jealous. I look at them and go, I cannot believe how they've died. They're happy that they're in their little plastic-lined box, sipping their cups of coffee, playing the little fake game, talking about global warming. And I go, wow, that has got to be the most boring relationship you could possibly have. And you go into that woman's house, she's got Eddie Bauer shirts and Eddie Bauer pants and Land's End stuff, and no thank you. I read a book. I wish I could remember the name of it. It was the story of Danny Graham, 15-year-old boy who sailed out of Hawaii and sailed around the globe, and he met this girl in, was it East Timor? One of the South Pacific islands. Met this brown-skinned, blonde-haired beauty who had a little French Polynesian in her, and she was a hottie, and he couldn't bring her with him because Geographic and others started to sponsor him, but her father had big money, so she was able to jump ahead and meet him at other ports, and they got a motorcycle when they went to the Serengeti, and they roared off in the Serengeti together, and I thought, you know, I love that. I mean, yeah, I wish I had enough money where I could have the wind in my hair with some chick, but I'm just not into these designer chicks. I'm just not into how boring and settled people have reluctantly settled into this status quo. You know, I go back to my grandpa's house in Lawndale. It was pink stucco. It got awful ugly on the outside. It had a ship's bell, a small ship's bell at the front. You open the door would get stick sometimes, and you'd have to plane it. But there was something about that old 40s 50s house that just, to this day, if I could go back and buy that just as it is, I'd take it. They don't make houses like that anymore. He had ship models on a shelf above the dining room that were always out of my destructive reach. But when I was in ocean liners, I saw the United States, the Titanic, the Queen Mary. I'm like, cool. He had big glass fishing floats deep in his backyard, palm trees. I told you about those yesterday. Catamarans, just junk, old tube radios, a garage filled with stuff, and he used to buy us, my cousin and I, black Tonkas. He'd buy these yellow Tonkas that were rusted and spray paint the whole thing black. Old fish ponds that were abandoned and fountains and the Lord's Prayer inscribed on the cement when it had been wet for the sidewalk, and bricky little things and a tiki den that had a Buddha that you turned sideways to open the door, and you went in and had that carved open woodwork with vines growing down, and it had a big roaring fireplace, and it was something that you would see on the island of Hawaii. And I said, this yard is the coolest place in the frickin' world. My grandpa was a merchant marine guy. He would walk into that house. Doris, when are we going to eat dinner? Now, he was a Democrat, but I think he'd be disgusted at a lot of what the party does today if he was alive. I know he wrote an editorial in the Prescott Courier years ago that was fiery as hell, addressing the flag burning and what he thought of that. And I read my grandpa's article, and I'm like, right on, Grandpa. He used to call me Michael Mass. Barrel-chested Irish guy. He had been in the sun so much his skin was constantly tan. He'd wear the Hawaiian shirt buttoned down, big belly, and he looked everything of a Pacific Island native. I was scared of him. I didn't mess around in front of Grandpa. Michael Mouse, what are you doing? Nothing. But he used to take me down to the docks to watch the big freighters load, and we'd go to San Pedro, and he'd tell me about ships and stuff, and I didn't get into that until I got older. He took me down to the Queen Mary for the first time ever, and I was just starstruck. My cousin said, you inherited more of Papa than any of us did, and you're not even blood. He says, you love the ocean and ships. You should have been a sailor. Papa's house was unlike anything that you ever saw. You went into the bathroom, and there was a tub and a shower, and you stood in the tub, and there was this white painted glass, and then a removable sliding little door that had, that waterproofing on it. And there was a fish tank in the wall. When he had bought the house, you go on the other side of the bathroom where the den is. There was this fish tank built into the wall. And when he had bought the house, there was a big black grouper in there, barely fitting in the tank. Koi ponds all over. It seemed pretty clear that somebody of Japanese descent probably owned that house, because the stuff was clearly Japanese. These women today want these, I don't know what, these modern homes today. I don't like them. A friend of mine that I chat with sent me a picture of a Philippine house, the inside, the bamboo, the flooring, and it's so simple and it's beautiful. I've got it on my screensaver. I wish I could show it to you. I would rather live in a house like that. I'd rather live in Papa's house than any of these new places. And a woman of our culture today is not going to jive with a Papa house. The smells in the house, the sounds of that old house that had so much character. And then Dee Dee, my grandmother, had depression glass all over the place. And she would put up a gold aluminum Christmas tree. That to me was just weird. And they would have things that you would just, if you stared in one space, you'd notice something you never noticed before, and it was a glass deer with the fawn eyes and the big eyelashes going, and you just go, what the hell is that? My cousin and I would laugh. Look, did you see that? And we'd walk around all day long going, imitating the deer. My grandma had these 2 porcelain creamers from the 50s. My other grandma on my dad's side, and there was this cat creamer, and the mouth was... And it's funny, you remember those things, like the salt and pepper shaker pigs. There were seashells above the kitchen sink. They were always so high to me. And one day, we came down from Mammoth to spend a week, I think Christmas vacation down at Dee and Papa's. I walked in the door, I'm like, gosh, this house is small. And I realized I had grown in the shelf that was way up here. I was staring at it. Wow, what happened? This kitchen seems small. They had the old metal sink drain boards, the old tap hand stoves and fridge, and Caro corn syrup bottles everywhere. I mean, this... And his ship books. And an old blue couch from the 60s that I slept on when I was there. And my grandmother, I'd get up before anybody else. I've always been an early person. Don't wake anybody up now. She'd hand me a stack of National Geographics, and I would pore over those. I'd look at naked pygmies. I could look at chasms. I'd look at exotic faces. I'd look at pictures of places I didn't even know where they were or understood anything. Philippine women with no bra, no shirt, standing there smiling in their village. And I was fascinated. What is this beyond my world? I didn't read these. I just looked at the pictures. Do you know what that did to me? My grandma and grandpa had more influence on me than anybody else. It gave me a love for the world around me. It gave me a curiosity to see what's on the other side. I love an exotic face. I love brown skin. I love long black hair. I love the Asian culture. I love that I got to experience that over there. And as I watch a travesty being committed every day, I watched Korean funny commercials on YouTube. I watched Chinese funny commercials. I started noticing something. These Korean women, all dyeing their hair blonde. They got so much pancake plastered on their face. And they're slapping the men in the commercials. And they're acting stupid and immature. And this is starting to happen on a global scale. But in the Philippines, you can still find women that aren't buying the feminism, aren't buying the crap, and still want a man who loves them, and they will love him in return. That is my opinion, and I will stand by that. I'm hoping to go to the Philippines after the school year ends for 2 weeks. We will see. That's all I'm going to tell you. It's time to go back to Asia, even if only temporarily. It's long overdue. I'm not going back to Hong Kong ever again. Not unless I came into big money. But I'm not going back to Hong Kong. I've made a commitment. I'm not visiting Hong Kong. We need to move in different directions. I need to take a trip. I need to get away from the dry climate and experience the humidity, smell the smells of Asia, and I need to revisit the Philippines. minus the woman that I went over there for to begin with. American women are a liability. And the ones that aren't, the ones that are good, the ones that have good hearts, they're married. They're taken. I know a lot of good women out there that are white. They're married. They're friends of mine. They're beautiful. They're well adjusted. And even they'll look me in the eye and don't look at these single girls that have got that attitude. They're a waste of your time. When you get up into our age, because everybody races off in our culture and gets married right away. You get women up into my age, and a lot of them are burnout, rusty freighters. And you get involved with them, and you hook your line to them, there's a chance they could pull you down and cause you to sink right with them. Don't do it. This is specific, and you heard it first here.